Here's the phone. You know we're going to take it. 96.5 CTG.
Live.
Queen Bohemian Rhapsody going out to Vanessa there. Way the Wind Blows. The original 70s soundtrack. We have live on the air with us. Who we got?
96.5. Hello.
Welcome to our world. Do we scare you? You're live on the air with CTG. Pick up the regular phone there, Sue.
Hello. It is Andy.
All right, well, let's punch him up.
Hold on just a second. We're going live right now.
Can you hear us, Andy? We can't hear him. Why is that?
Oh.
Punch
Is that
some
better?
buttons.
Andy?
I can hear you.
There you go.
There we go.
We had a board issue.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, Andy?
Oh, going a million miles an hour. I'm here with Toby in a restaurant called Bottino's in New York, and we just heard to call you, and we're happy to be with you.
Thank you very much. Did you get our little celebrity bumper script? Where it says, "Hi, I'm Andy Fraser of," and you're listening to...
I'll do all of that for you.
Oh, swell.
But I didn't get it.
That's cool. We'll feed you a line, just like a Hollywood movie. We'll feed you a line, and then we can always comp it together later. But our listeners love this. We like to put you on the spot. Are you ready to work for us?
Sure, go ahead.
Say hi. However you like to introduce yourself. Hi, this is Andy Fraser of...
Hi, this is Andy Fraser of...
Free? I mean, how do you like to brand yourself these days?
Hi, this is Andy Fraser, formerly of first band I was in, well, actually not counting John Mayall, and most recently of the McTrax label, which you have to go to at mctrax.com.
Mm-hmm.
How's everybody doing?
All right, and then the next line will be, and you're listening to the original 70s soundtrack.
And you're listening to the original 70s soundtrack
On 96.5 CTG.
on 96.5 CTG.
Yes, we just made a
Perfect.
legend. You'll live forever now, dude. We'll be rolling that every time we play one of your tunes. And Andy, we have done that already tonight. We did roll All Right Now by Free, and we also threw a little bit of every kind of people on the listeners there to make sure that people understood that not only are you an amazing bass player, but you're a prolific songwriter as well.
Thank you very much. I thought Robert actually did a great job on that, and he's a very dear friend, and I miss him greatly.
Yeah.
We do too. Yeah, we were just remarking upon that as well. Getting started with, and it's funny, we saw your website, and of course I was a Free fan back in the day, and I saw your website, and I was like, dude, it's like you're just like looking so totally young. I was like, how does Andy Fraser? Because most of the rest of the people we deal with, they're well into their 60s. And I was like, he doesn't look a day over 59. And then guess what? You're 59.
Right.
No, you're looking good.
You're looking good, buddy.
Oh, thank you very much indeed.
But-
I have been hanging by a hair in past, and having been given a second chance, I'm trying not to blow it.
Well, there you go. I get photo shoots every now and then. I know that the camera it makes me look beautiful when they photograph me in the right light, I guess. I'm 46. I'm a little bit behind you there, but the reason is you look so good and you're so young with such a history is you started with the Free at like 15 years old. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right, 15 years old, and I'd actually, believe it or not, been in John Mayall's Blues Breakers before that, having been thrown out of school for not having my hair cut.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's an amazing a credit to have on your. So I mean, how cool were your parents to sort of just like let you go out with John Mayall at what, 14 years old?
Well, my father was out of the picture. They'd divorced earlier, and my mother never stood a chance with me.
Right.
So she just had to go with it. You know, when I told her I got thrown out of school, of course she was upset, but I said, it's okay, everything's going to be okay. And it was. And I actually fulfilled her dream by being able to buy her the only house she ever owned before she died, which was not long after that. She died of brain tumor when I was about 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
And of course, that point, Free's pretty much blowing up. Tell us a little bit about the band, of course. And I just want to share with you personally. I'm a musician as well, and of course, Sue's going to make that face because I always got to get that in there. But that little bass riff during the breakdown section where you do that bum ba dum bum 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 bum, and then you start laying the chords in there, and then Paul comes in with a harmonized line that gets built up. That was like one of my, and I'm a guitar player, But every time I fantasize and I'm like air riffing that song, for the first part of the song, I'm playing the guitar and I'm doing the Righteous Paul Rogers vocals. But then for the bass part, in my fantasy, my guitar magically transforms into a bass. And then I hit that. And I'm shirtless now just to give you a visual. That bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. And it's just so righteous.
Oh.
Bass is my favorite instrument, so there you
Yeah,
go.
Sue's a big bass thing. So if she'd been back there back in the day, that would have definitely been Sue tosses her shirt at the stage time.
Oh, right.
But I guess tell us about. I mean, so, there you are. You're in like one of the world's greatest bands. Can you give us like a little glimpse of what it was like to be in that era in the late '60s, early '70s?
Well, I can give you two diametrically opposed examples. For example, before All Right Now, and in fact this is where All Right Now came from, we were playing like some college gig on a rainy Tuesday, and we got lost on the way, and we got really pissed, so we were grumpy before we got there to find like 18 people in the audience, all out of their heads on mandrags. Bumping into each other, people like rubber people.
Right.
And usually we could play for ourselves and be satisfied, but we sucked.
Right.
We came off, and there was that awful silence in the dressing room where someone was going to get hurt. And I started singing, "All right, now come on, baby." And everybody joined in, and it broke, the bad mood.
The tension, sure.
And from there to play and say like an Isle of Wight festival with nearly 750,000 people.
Nice.
And having to like take that deep breath to go out and meet that energy. On the same bill as people like Hendrix and The Who and Dylan and Tiny Tim, would you believe?
Yeah.
I'm a tiptoe through the tulips, buddy. I'm a fan.
Well, something very interesting. Now that all of that, it's like it's come full circle in my life. And now with the Make Tracks label, our first signing is another 16-year-old from London called Toby.
I heard some of the tracks. Cyrene shared some of those, some previews with me. Sweet stuff. And you're playing bass on that stuff, right?
Yes.
Wow.
In fact, Toby came over in January. We recorded the album. Then he went back to finish school while I finished the album. And 3 days after finishing school, he came out here, and we've been on a radio tour. In fact, he's right here, falling half asleep after had a very hard day's rehearsal. But it will tell you hi anyway. Here's Toby.
Hello, how's it going?
How are you, Toby?
I'm very good, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, I hear your career's blowing up there, son.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think so. Anyway, Andy's doing a good job. I'm sort of rolling along with it. I mean, after today, I don't know which way's up, so I think we're working
there you go.
pretty damn hard.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Tell Andy I got somebody else I need him to sign, too. Really promising musician, singer, songwriter, guitar player, dude named Alan Barnes. He also does a radio show. I need to be on Make Tracks.
You do, yeah.
I do. Actually, I do.
Send over some tracks.
I will. I'll send him a
there you
link. I'm completely shameless. Thank you. Thank you there, Toby.
Cool, no, here's Andy.
All right, back to Andy.
Hey there.
We got to give the boys 15 minutes. Well, going back to free, not to keep pushing in the past, but one of the things that I really wanted to touch on is, well, first of all, the record business is so different from today, and you can probably relate to this with Mick Tracks and what you're doing with Toby there.
Yeah.
You were allowed to sort of grow record sales-wise with free and sort of evolve over a couple of releases. They didn't expect you to do platinum like right out of the gate and stay that way. So it was the third album before you guys really broke with All Right Now. Going through all that and being the center of that hurricane, how difficult, and I got to admire the fact that you were sort of almost, even though you're younger than those guys, you were sort of the professional musician, but how difficult was that dealing with Paul's addictions and then sort of watching someone just so talented being in the same band sort of destroy himself right in front of your very eyes? I mean, how did that feel?
It was the hardest thing in my life because we were brothers. We were like blood. We always had each other's back.
Right.
We were like commandos that you totally rely on each other. And when any one member is not himself, everybody else steps out of their role trying to compensate.
Right.
And the whole chemistry is messed up. and you come unglued.
Sure.
You can't imagine what it's like standing on stage at the Albert Hall, and suddenly Koss is 5 minutes behind you, and the whole audience is crying for you. They're not booing, they're literally crying for you.
Sure.
Like they understand. It was so hard.
What a sad thing. And every time I go back to that period, and then I listen to the Bad Company, which sort of sprung from the ashes. I mean, Simon Kirke and Paul, obviously, and you decided not to go along. To me, I liked no harm to Mick or even Boz, but I just can't help but think how much more. I mean, that was all very straight, middle of the road blues rock stuff. And Paul Rodgers, I mean, God bless him, what a great voice. But what the Free did was more interesting musically, I think, than what Bad Company did, as righteous as they were.
A lot of people have said that, and I sort of understand what they're saying. And I wonder if the fragility of what we had sort of explains the spirit of it and why it broke up, and why sort of a meat and potatoes outfit like Bad Company,
right,
it was better than your average rock band,
sure,
by far. But it, for me and for a lot of people, there was something kind of missing. I think sort of Mick Ralphs is a great songwriter.
He is.
But you put him against Cossack as guitar, and it's difficult for anybody.
It was.
Yeah.
And what Bad Company did was just like redefine the American Midwest and Camaros in 1975 and 8-track players. And it's ironic, of course, like say, Paul, one of the, he'd be on my top 5 list, and another guy that was supposed to call, might be calling us a little bit later, Lou Graham tonight as well. But you guys were, if for lack of a better term, certainly more British, and so I don't know. It's always one of those, you'll never know what might have been, but I always just like to imagine what might have been had things been differently and you guys had stayed together. Not that I didn't enjoy Bad Company. But then, of course, if that had not happened, of course, you wouldn't have moved to California and shared your prolific songwriting skills with us. Tell us about moving to Los Angeles.
Well, I moved here in '76 after sort of everything came unglued, and I was getting tired of the rain and the taxes and people ODing around me.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, and it was really a shot in the arm for me. The sunshine, and one of the first songs I wrote here actually was "Every Kind of People," which Robert did a great job of. I recorded it on an album, Polydor, and they had one of the A&R guys mix it, and he so destroyed it, I refused to let it be released. And so when Robert did it, I was really, really pleased. Of course, Robert is a great friend, a great singer, and I loved him dearly.
Did it already have, when you read the original version, did it already have that little keyboard hook in it, that little bum, 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 ba-da-da-da?
It was played on the bass.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you have a really amazing lyrical bass playing that I admire. There are bass players that really, Paul McCartney is another one that comes to mind, where the bass just jumps out at you, and it's very lyrical. It almost provides like a counter melody, and of course for me that was hugely, hugely influential. But of course, moving to California, I think it brought on and you're still living in California today. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, and loving it. It opened me up to a whole bunch of things, including, by the way, my sexuality, which was a really big one to deal with.
Right.
Having been married to like a great girl and having 2 beautiful daughters, you can't imagine how that was for me to deal with.
And what year was that when that happened?
I'm not very good at years.
80s, say? 80s? 90s? No, it was actually 90s, wasn't it?
I am really bad with years.
Well, so that's okay. Hey, me too. I can't tell you what happened 10 minutes ago. What were you saying? Who are you again? I'm kidding.
Right.
But it was brave, and it's funny too. Now the music industry, I hope, has advanced to the point where that doesn't really matter. As long as you're not being sold as like some teen pop idol. I know it got in Ricky Martin's way from a marketing standpoint, but I'm hoping that audiences have gotten beyond that. We were just playing.
Certainly
We
have.
just came into this with Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Freddie Mercury. Now, if I was naming the top 5 vocalists of all time, he'd be on the top of my list. Of course, interestingly enough, do you have an opinion? What's your thought on Paul Rodgers and Queen? Have you seen that?
I've not live, but I saw enough videos to get the idea. I think, like everybody else, it yanked me sideways for a minute, because it was nearly like putting B.B. King or Stevie Winwood with the Queen.
Right. Yeah.
And Freddie Mercury is such an individual. And by the way, I mean, you've got to hand it to him. For in those days, right up front coming out saying, outland is Queen.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was so over the top, most people didn't get it.
No, they didn't.
No, I wasn't fooled, but hey. But it was only, yeah. Now, Rob Halford fooled me,
Yeah.
but I was young.
Hey.
Is that weird? When
It
you're
is.
so in your face, people didn't get it?
No.
No, yeah, that's true. It's totally, but yeah, the good news is it's 2011, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping that it doesn't have anything to do with music, but it is. I have to imagine it's hard as an artist and just as an individual to have to deal with that, and suddenly there's also tabloid journalism to deal with at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, well, that is the big private fear. Until I had got a personal grasp of it and come to terms with it within myself,
Yeah.
going on a stage and not being comfortable in my own skin was impossible, because
Right.
I have to be honest, and I couldn't connect the two worlds, integrate them, and it took a long time. And once I did that, well, and maybe the times have changed as well, but people would rather you be honest than be a liar when it comes right down to it.
Sure.
I would.
Yeah, so that was a big one for me to deal with, and I think nowadays, as you say, it's no big deal for anybody.
No. Well, kudos, Andy.
Yeah.
And speaking of, it's political now, and I'm just going to ask you this: we do politics. We're going to get Ted Nugent on here, so we'll give the other I'm going to presume a little more left wing proclivity on your part, because you did the Obama song, the "Yes We Can"
Yeah.
thing. Have you, as a gay man, have you been disappointed, between campaign promise versus what was delivered as president in terms of his support of gay rights?
No, I sort of understand why he's had to do it in baby steps.
Sure.
I mean, everybody's got their issue and wants the president to, do it, with a magic wand.
Sure.
And I totally understand gay people and not moving fast enough. In fact, everybody with their issue can say that. But I understand how difficult it's been for him. I mean, first of all, he had to come in when the whole economy was just about to go off a cliff.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And, you can't put the gay agenda at the top of your priorities.
Particularly when we're sort of worried that maybe on Tuesday we hear the rumor is that our economy is going to go into complete
We're gonna
failure.
go bankrupt.
So,
Right.
so hit your ATM tonight, Andy, and get some cash in hand for next week.
Well, I pulled out a treasury bond about a month ago.
There you go. See, because we're getting ready to
Yeah.
get downgraded there, so you want to cash that.
Right. Well, the sad thing is, if a bunch of Saudi Arabians had done the same thing, we're all going to be in trouble.
You got to believe it. And tell me, speaking of economics, and we're getting ready to wrap this up, but I do want to find out, what in the world makes a man start a record company in this economy where the record business, where people are just out there stealing MP3s as fast as they can download them? Show me where you're at as far as starting McTracks. What's your thought and your business model there going to be?
Well, I thought, first of all, the rest of the labels ain't doing it, so there's no point going to them.
Right.
So, and I figure everything is going to streaming and downloading. So I just get ahead of that curve. Forget CDs, they could be 78. I mean, it's all going to be streaming. Everybody's got a smartphone,
Yeah.
and they want it instantly now. They
Sure.
couldn't even be bothered to walk to a shelf to pick up a CD, just dial it up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I
On
wanted
demand.
to get ahead of that, and they can dial in McTracks.com as easily as they can dial in Apple.com.
I saw that.
So they might as well come straight to me and just shortcut the whole deal.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've my own stuff I've got on SoundClick and it's free right now. But I've been investigating like some CD Baby stuff and some Amazon placement in iTunes, and they take a pretty hefty chunk there just for listing you there. I mean, but of course these days I like what you're doing with the direct sell. The industry wants to make you feel like, well, gosh, if you're not on Amazon and you're not on iTunes, you don't even exist.
Right. Well, we're going to try and make a difference.
I'm glad you are, dude. Well, look, we've got to wrap you up. I love the fact that you're calling us in. I'm disappointed that you're not in Los Angeles because we love for our British friends just to say Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
There you go. There you go. We live for that. Well, Andy, we think it's cool that you've got Toby there with you and that you're also lending your immense talent to somebody young and keeping the music alive that way as well. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. And one last thing. If you speak to Lou Graham later, tell him he's always been one of my favorites too.
Oh, I know. He's phenomenal.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And I know he's had health problems. I wish him all the very best for that.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Andy.
You too,
Okay.
Andy.
All right. Be safe. Love to Toby.
Great talking to you.
All right,
Bye-bye
cool.
now.
Thank you. All right, that was Andy Fraser of Free there. We're going to get right into the requests and catch back up. Kodachrome going out to Georgia Steve there calling up. Also, Jim Croce for Lucy Sweat and some more stuff. And that was Andy Fraser of The Free. Did you like that,
was
Sue?
cool. Yeah. I'd rather be in dinner in New York City.
I just
with
wanted to
them,
say it's
but-
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
I love that.
There you go.
Anyway, we are the original 70s soundtrack, 96.5 CTG.